everybody, it's Suzanne A. Wells, and we are back today with another seller interview. I've got Ginger here who's going to talk to us about being retired, newly retired, and doing her eBay business to make up what she was making at her real job. So, hey, Ginger.
Hi.
Okay, so we're going to start off with you telling us a little bit about where you live and how you do your sourcing.
Okay. I live about 80 miles southeast of Dallas, Texas, in a little town, about 10,000, Athens, Texas, about 10,000 population. And in Athens, we have a Goodwill and a thrift store that's actually sponsored kind of by one of my church members, got it started, and all the proceeds go to local missions. So I actually even volunteer there some, but that's really it, except for garage sale and estate sales. Occasionally I'll go to Tyler, which is about 30 miles away, and do that. And every once in a while I'll even go to Dallas, but it's kind of a long way, and I seem to be able to find enough stuff around here to do what I need to do, so I don't always go a long way.
So another thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is that she is in a small town, does not have a lot of sourcing options, and she's still making it work. Mm-hmm. So this interview should hit home with a lot of you who are in pre-retirement, moving into retirement, have already retired, want to get into this business, and or have limited sourcing options. Because one reason I reached out to Ginger was because I just kept seeing all of her sales on the Money Making Monday and the $100 sales threads with all of this great stuff. And I thought, you know, does she have knowledge of the estate sale industry or what? Because what is your professional background? What did you retire from?
I am a dental hygienist. For like 41 years when I retired, almost 42. So that was really, that was my after school job in high school, was working for a dentist, and then I went to hygiene school. So that's really all I've ever done.
So you don't have specialized knowledge in reselling or antiques, or you're not a fourth generation antique store owner. You just learned this along the way.
Yes, and paid a lot of attention to your videos. I'll be honest.
Thanks. So let's talk about your eBay journey so far. When did you start selling?
Right at 2 years ago. I knew that when I turned 62 that I wanted to retire, and I wanted to have a way to generate some income. And I love garage sales and estate sales and all that. So I decided to start about a year before. Well, a couple of years actually before I retired, just to see if I could make it work. And you know, it started out kind of small, and then it got to where I could do it. So.
Well, and I see that a lot with people contacting me that want to get started. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm set to retire in 2 years. And, you know, I totally understand you're waiting for your pension, or you're waiting until you can draw Social Security, or any of those things you have to wait for. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to walk away from their job whenever they feel like it. Right. But, you know, you had a plan. So I like that. Now, were you a buyer before you started selling?
Yes, I was actually. I've had an eBay account for years and years. So
okay,
that's where the Double Bogey Mom name comes from. Back then, I played golf.
Tell us about that. I've got a link to your store under the video so everybody can check that out. Tell us about your store name.
Well, when I played golf, Double Bogey was usually pretty good for me, so that's why. And I, of course, was a mom at the time my kids played golf and everything, so I just named it Double Bogey Mom, trying to find something different, and I just left it like that. You know, I haven't played golf in a few years, but I just kept the name.
You're too busy eBaying now.
Right.
Well, and you mentioned that you were a buyer for a long time, and a lot of people have that question about, do I have to set up a different account to be a seller? No, you just use what you already have. You've already got that feedback built up. You've got that history. It shows the open date as whatever, and that is actually works in your favor as a new seller, because you don't look brand new and you're not a target for being scammed. So
True. And I don't think I have been yet. Now, it might happen today, but so far, so good.
well, it happened to me yesterday on my account that was open 16 years ago. I had somebody
Really?
with some weird request about, go to this link. It's a PayPal gift card. I want to buy this $200 item. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So,
Yeah.
it's all you can do is take precautions. Anybody
Mhm.
who sells on eBay can be a target for a scam. So you just have to learn what they are. What prompted you to jump in and start doing eBay? You said you just like garage sales.
Oh, I do. I love to garage sale, and I love a good deal. And so I already did that some, and I love, it's like a treasure hunt for me. So I just decided to try. And of course, when I first started, I spent too much on things and they weren't as valuable. And then I learned to look up the sold listings and all that. So it was a learning process. And now I don't buy anything without checking it first, but occasionally, and it was actually this way on the flatware that ended up being such a great buy. I was out at the lake, and there's very sketchy internet out there. So I just bought that because it felt good. I couldn't look it up, and sure enough, it was one of my best buys. So anyway.
So you don't really have a specific type of item you look for. You'll do anything.
I really will. And because of where I live, I don't know that I could have a specific niche and support it without having to go around more. I just kind of have to see what the thrift store has and what Goodwill has and what the garage sales have and go for it.
So I don't feel like you are afraid to experiment.
No, no. And the more I get into it, the less afraid I am. Took me
Right.
a while to get into the international shipping, and now I don't know why I thought that was a big deal, but
Well, because it was new. Anything that's
Right.
new is a little intimidating, and it takes a while to build your confidence. Should I spend $5 on that thing? Well, worst case scenario, you sell it for $6. Move on.
True. That is so true.
um, okay, so let's talk about your store as it is right now. You said you've got about 500 listings.
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay. What about, are you tracking your profit? Do you know how much you make each month?
Yeah, I actually do. I keep it on an Excel sheet. And I would say profit, it kind of goes between oh, 800 to 1500. I know that's kind of a big, but um, mostly around $1,000, $1,200 profit,
That's
usually.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. And so you said that plus your Social Security puts you at what you were earning at your real
Yeah, I
job.
was only working 2 days a week, so it wasn't, I didn't have as huge an income to match as I would if I'd been full time. So
Well, but then when you're retired, you don't need as much money,
no,
because
that's
you,
not true. And I get everything at estate sales and garage sales, so I don't spend much on things.
right. And then you get that bonus of being that age, you get senior discounts and stuff.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I still have a few more years to go on that, and they keep raising the age. So it's like, am I going to have to go get a fake ID to get the discount?
Right. That's true.
That's crossed my mind. But anyway, okay. So you said you pay about $1 to $2 for each item.
I'd say yeah. That's probably accurate.
Okay, and you have about 500. Is everything pretty much listed?
Yeah, I've got a few things. I went to my daughter, she lives in Austin, and I went to the bins and we hit a few garage sale and estate sales down there. And I've probably got 10 or 15 things that I haven't listed yet since I got back from her house that I need to get listed, but everything else is, yes.
Well, and that takes great discipline, especially when you are retired and you have time to go find all this stuff, to discipline yourself when you get home to get it listed, because
Right.
you can't make money if it's not listed. So
Yeah, and I put it in, we have a bonus room upstairs that I work in, and I'll put it up there and it starts looking cluttered, and I don't like that. So once I list it, then I go put it in the storage place, until it sells, and so then my room looks better again.
well, I commend you on that, because that is it just takes a lot of discipline to get it up for sale. But, you know, then you hear the ka-ching the next day and it just motivates you to list everything else.
No,
So
it does. And it seems like, and I don't know if it's that I'm buying better things or that I don't know why. Maybe you can enlighten me on that. But it seems like now the new things I list sell a lot faster than things that have been there for a while. I mean, they'll sell along, but a lot of times within a week, the new stuff will sell, you know, so I don't
I
know.
find that too. And it's just like the things you've had for a year, you know, they're kind of sprinkled in there. Oh, that finally sold. Or yeah, I'll take $10 for that. I'm sick of looking at it. Or yeah, I wouldn't buy that today. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that thing. But everybody's business evolves like that. I mean, you mentioned making some buys that like were mistakes, and everybody does that. It just evolves to where, yeah, that doesn't sell anymore, so just get rid of it and move on. And that sale helps your whole store kind of ramp up because you're getting sales. So that's just the way it goes. So let's talk about some of your amazing sales. And let's keep in mind that Ginger's pretty new to this, but she's doing it. I mean, the flatware, talk about that.
Well, that's the one that was out at the lake, and I didn't have good internet, so I couldn't look. But when I picked it up, it just felt heavy quality, and it was pretty, not fancy but pretty, and it was $60, and it was in the little wooden case. And it was the first day of the estate sale, and I thought, you know, if I wait till tomorrow, it'll be half price. And then I thought, but if it's not here, that might not be good. So I just bought it, you know, and hoped it would be good. And then when I got it listed, which it's really easy to list, I sold immediately like a teaspoon for $39.99. And then I sold the sugar spoon and the butter knife for $20 each. And then I sold a place setting for $119. And then a lady asked me to buy 2 place settings, and she offered me $80 a place setting, which I took because I thought, okay. Then she liked it so much, she ordered 3 more. So, you know, I've made like $600 and something on that $60 investment, and I've still got a third of it left. So yeah, that was great. And it stores easy, you know, it takes up no room. And I now look for flatware a lot more than I used to.
You paid a total of $60 for this set.
Yes.
And how many pieces did it have in it?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but it was 8 place settings of 5. So that's 40. And then a lot of serving pieces and like 12 teaspoons. I'm going to say there were every bit of 60 pieces. So it probably averaged $1 each piece.
So you paid about $60, and so far it's generated over $600 for you.
Yes.
So
I actually have a third of it left. So I'm hoping that means another 300, you know, off of it.
So when I saw that listing and I kept seeing these pieces selling, I was like, oh, there's the flatware expert I've been looking for to help teach people how to do this, because I don't know a lot about it. And you're like, no, that was my first set.
It was. It won't be my last if I can find another one.
So that just goes to show you that it just take a little bit of a risk, and you know, $60 is not that much to pay for that kind of set.
And you know, when I first started and I was just putting my money into it, I was real sketchy about spending very much. You know, I didn't have a lot of confidence. And now I'm like, well, it's only $60. You know, if I just get my money back out of it, at least I did that and I learned something. So I'm a little more bold, I guess, or with my purchases than I used to be, or more confident.
That's the way it goes. Good for you. And so the next very random item on your list is the Honda Goldwing service manual.
That was my husband's. He has motorcycles, and he always buys the service manual, and then he sells them, and then we've got all these service manuals. So he said, hey, can we sell that? And I said, well, let's try. And it didn't take very long, and it was what, $150 for that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I sold another one for him, and we made 60 on it, and we've got 2 or 3 others listed right now. So those have been good sellers. And other than what he put into them initially, we don't have, I put 0 down as cost on them because I don't know how long he had them.
Yeah. And then you had some Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yeah. I went to this garage sale that wasn't even listed. I was just driving to another one and it was there. And I thought, oh, let me go check that. And they had several sunglasses. And so I checked them all and decided the Ray-Bans were probably the best deal. And they were $10 and then sold them in like a week on auction for $52. So that was great.
Now, did you do anything to authenticate those or try to see if they were fake?
Well, I looked up the numbers of course, on the side, it's got that, I looked up the number and everything, and no, I did not authenticate them, but they looked authentic, and I got great feedback on it. So I'm gonna.
Well, you did by looking up the numbers, and
Right.
At least you made an effort to see if
Yeah.
that was.
I even did that before I bought them. I went outside in the sun and kind of looked at what the number was on the side of the frame and looked it up. And anyway, it was, I kind of knew what I was buying when I got it.
Well, and if they had been selling for 500, maybe you would have gone a little bit further.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, I would have, for sure.
Okay. All right. Then you had some cologne.
Oh, that's funny. So we have a Christmas party with our small group, and we do everybody brings something from their house that they don't want, and we wrap it up, and we call it Dirty Santa or Chinese Christmas. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but and my friend next to me opened this, and it was the cologne, and she smelled it, and she said, "Hey, that stinks," or made some comment. And I smelled it, and I thought, well, it smells okay to me. But of course, being an eBay seller, I just looked it up on my phone. And when I saw that it was selling for like $125, I just made sure that I ended up with it because nobody else wanted it anyway. And sure enough, I sold it first for like $95. And the lady wrote me back and said, "Oh, it just brings tears to my eyes. It's so wonderful." Well, then like a day later, she wrote back and said, "I think it's soured or something. It doesn't smell good." So she returned it, and I put it on me and wore it all day, and it felt fine. So I relisted it and sold it for $129 the second time, and no, they never sent it back.
Oh, wow.
It worked out okay.
Gosh. So welcome to the dark side of being an eBay seller when you are at a Christmas party and you are looking up potential gifts of how much can I sell this for?
And actually, everybody at the party, when I wrote one of my friends, I said, I sold that cologne for $129. She said, "You need to tell everybody in the small group." So we have a little small group Facebook page, and I put it on there. And of course, everybody thought it was hilarious. But anyway.
That is, but now you don't want that getting around because every time you go to a party, they're going to be like, "I'm going to find out how much this is worth on eBay because Ginger's going to want it."
Really? Well, none of them want to sell, so I guess I've got a good. I can keep them for me.
Yeah, if you have a good source, and that's what I find too. Is most people, I don't even offer to help local people anymore, just because I've done it so many times, and then they don't follow through. They realize, oh, this is too complicated. I can't figure out the shipping or whatever it is, and so I just sell the stuff myself. I'm like, I'll just give you $10 for it, and I'll do it. And they're happy with that. So,
Exactly.
You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. And then you had the Tiffany coffee cups that I think were on the front of one of my videos.
I think they were because
they just kept showing up all the time with these items. And I'm like, there's Ginger again. What did she retire from an antique store? How does she know all this?
Those were at some people were just moving to a different town. It was an estate sale, but they really weren't, I don't think, selling everything because they're my age. But anyway, in the garage, there were all these cups sitting up there. I guess they just put them out there to display, and they were all 50 cents each. And there were those two Tiffany's, and I thought, Tiffany? This has got to be good, So I got them and thought it's only $1. And then when I found out they were worth, $75 each or whatever, I think I took a best offer of $100 on the set because they bought both. And that was a pretty good return on $1.
And those were cool looking mugs too.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Okay. Then you've got the Barbie you sold on consignment.
Yeah, kind of like what you said. People always want you to help them, and I'm selling some Hallmark ornaments for a friend, because she's got just boxes and boxes of them. And then her neighbor had the Barbies, and she had a lot of stuff and wanted me to help her. And I said, well, I really am trying not to do too much of that selling for other people, but I said I'll take the Barbies and try those. And they were her Barbies when she was a little girl, and she just had a bunch of them. And we sold, how much was the one? $250 I sold one for, and
Yeah.
another like $80 for Skipper, and then I sold a whole lot of clothes for $100. And so we split on that, but it was a really good deal, and they didn't take long at all. Apparently there's a real market for vintage Barbies.
And that's easy to ship. It's not like a lamp or vacuum cleaner.
No, it was super easy, little. And yeah, I did insure them though, because, and that lady wrote me after a while, and she said, I haven't gotten my Barbie. And I looked, and they held it at the post office. I looked on the tracking, and I said, it's at your post office. And so she went and got it and left me good feedback. But
Oh, good. So you've just got, even though you live in a small town with not a lot of thrift stores, like you're not in Atlanta where they're like on every corner. Yeah. I mean, you figured out all these ways to get things and make money with this business. So I live in a small town just is not an excuse.
No, it's really not. Between my house and downtown is Goodwill. So pretty much if I've got 15 or 20 minutes when I go to town, I always whip in there and just see if there's anything. Just do kind of I mean, I might be missing some things, but it doesn't change. I mean, it's a small town, so it's not like every day there's all new stuff. But I go there, and then at the thrift store, I try to go a couple times a week and check that out. And on Friday, Saturday, I always try to go to garage sales if there are any. It's been kind of rainy here lately, so the garage sales have even been, there haven't been as many. I expected it's going to pick up, but yeah, that's really pretty much what I do. Just
And then your Christmas parties and your people that you will do consignment for.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And I also hear people say, well, oh, I live in a small town. I don't want people to know what I'm doing because everyone else is going to do it. No.
No, I don't think so. I did see a lady at the thrift store the other day, and she had her phone, and I thought, yeah, she's checking souls on those, and so I know there are some people that do it, but I don't know of, well, one other lady I know sells on eBay, but not many around here, so maybe I don't have too much competition.
Well, and if they are, everybody does different things.
Exactly.
This may be somebody who worked in the jewelry industry forever, and that's what they know, and they don't want to ship a clock radio, or they don't want to do flatware. So you just have to go into it with, there's enough for everybody. We all know different things. I see resellers all the time. I just know because I see them. I run into the same people, and they hate doing clothing. I'm like, great, more for me.
Yeah, I have decided that I don't like it as much, only because there's a lot to it.
Right.
The washing, the steaming, the measuring, and all that. So I'd rather pick up flatware that I can just polish and lay, take my pictures and go, if I can. But
although you did have that St. John suit.
Yes, and I found it at an estate sale, and it was $10. And I did have it a while. I had it a long time before it finally sold. But what did I sell it for? 120 or something like that?
Yeah, you said 125.
Yeah. So yeah. And I pick up Pendleton and North Face, a lot of things, Lands End, stuff that I feel like will sell, Patagonia, St. John's, all those that I feel like will sell. And I went to an estate sale one day, and they had Chico's, Ralph Lauren, what was the other brand? A bunch of really great brands for $1 each. Well, I just bought a ton of it. I think I spent $30, and they must have miscalculated, because I had tons of stuff, and I've made a lot of money off those because they were good brands, and they were in wonderful condition. Apparently somebody just cleaned out their closet, so.
Or sometimes people just don't care. They just want to get rid of it.
Exactly.
You're at a garage sale, and they're like, I don't want to drag this back in the house, or they've lost weight or gained weight and their clothes don't fit, or they're just out of style and they don't like them anymore. Or they've had it for 4 years and they're sick of it and they don't care.
Right.
And you're like, really, is this the right price? Oh, I never say that because I don't want to tell them, but I'm like, oh, $5 for this, leather LL Bean, whatever thing, and they'll be like, yeah, just getting rid of it. So don't assume the reason it's price low is because they don't know any better. They might just not care.
Right. That's what I tell my husband all the time. I said, when somebody just wants to get rid of it, that's when I want it, because it has no value to them and it does to me, so.
Well, and as resellers, we're okay with doing the extra step of, oh, what can I make on this item and rehome it, pass it on to somebody else who really wants it. And when you like being that link in the chain, it's different than just people who are overwhelmed with so much stuff and they just want to get rid of it. They don't want to do all those extra steps. So sometimes they know better and sometimes they don't care.
Exactly.
Don't assume anything. Now, are you doing all of this yourself? Do you have any helpers with your business?
No, my old office saves packing materials for me, and my mom saves packing. Well, all my friends, everybody knows me knows I need packing materials, and I really have quite the glut. I don't know if I sent you a picture of that, but I have a lot of packing materials. And my husband will ship things for me occasionally if I'm not going into town and it's FedEx or something, where I can't put it in my mailbox. But pretty much I just do it myself. On a good day, I'll sell 4 or 5 items, and I'd say it averages couple 3 a day, and it's just really not hard to manage. So I just do it myself.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think a lot of retired people out there are seeing all this information online about how you have to scale the business and do thousands of items and hire people to do all this stuff. And you're at the point in your life where it's just, what is manageable? What do I want to do? And do as much as I want to do. And hiring people, managing people takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of time and aggravation. And then you hire somebody and you get them trained and then they quit or they don't show up anymore or whatever it is. And trust me, I've been down that road, and it's like, it's like, I just want to do what's manageable for me, because sometimes the only person you can count on is yourself.
Right.
And those other people don't have any skin in the game. They're just showing up to get paid by the hour or by the piece. And then you've arranged your whole day around someone doing this task for you and they don't show up or whatever.
Right.
And it's aggravating, and it can actually send you backwards if your help is not reliable. So,
right. And I want it packed like I want it packed, and I want it folded like I want it folded. All that, because I want a good presentation, because I do want good feedback. So it hasn't been a problem, to do it by myself at all. I haven't even thought about getting some help because it's very manageable.
Well, and when you're selling such high profit items, you don't have to do as much to meet your financial goal for that, which that was my next question is, are you striving to get to a certain point, or you just want to maintain what you're doing so that it equals what you were making at your job?
That's really it. I mean, if I made a little more, that would be fine, but I don't want a full-time job, because I retired. I want to volunteer and I want to be free to go do things and all that. So right now I can spend a couple hours a day on it, and it gives me, I'm making at least as much as I did when I was working, if not more, now, and I enjoy it, and I can do it when I want to, pretty much. If I want to work in the morning and then be free for the rest of the day, I can. If I want to go do something in the morning and work on it in the evening, I can, or I don't have to work on it at all and put in a little extra the next day or whatever. It's just really flexible, and I like that at this point in my life, and so I don't need to make any more than I am. If I did, that'd be great, but it's worked into what I need plus, and so I'm good.
Do you do any traveling?
Yes, I do. Actually, my eBay money, before I retired, it paid for a trip to Paris. I went to Rome in January after I retired. It paid for that. So yeah, it does. I like to travel. So if I make extra over what I was making, that's probably where it's going to go, is into a little travel account, you know.
How do you handle your store when you're away? Do you put it on vacation, or how do you do that?
Well, if I'm just going to be gone, like to my daughter's for 2 or 3 days, I just extend my shipping, my handling time. But when I was gone for 10 days, I extended my handling time and put my store on vacation. And then when I was like a couple of days from coming back, I took it off vacation. And every day on when I was gone, I would just do the bulk editor and move it a day, my handling time shorter, you know. And so 10, 9, 8, each evening when I get back to the hotel, I'd just make the handling time shorter so that it was accurate, you know, for when I'm
Right. So you only have a risk of that long handling time at the beginning of your trip. And all along, you're shortening that back to where it's supposed to be. And, you know, yeah, you might lose top rated seller because you're not within that 1 day handling time. But, you know, you got to weigh out what's more important. And you do this business so that you can have the flexibility to travel and do what you want. And you can always get your top rated seller back. That's what I say when I have to do that. It's like, well, you know, I'd rather have the money from the sale and you can always get top rated back. People go in and out of it all the time. I don't know of anybody that's always been top rated forever and never gone out of it. Do you have any advice for people in your age group and your chapter of life that are wanting to get into this?
Well, I would say just try you know, I started out really, I just used like we keep so much money out, you know, when we get paid for our running money. That's what we call it. You know, if we want to buy something or grab something to eat or whatever. And we just do that. So I just used that. I just started with that. So I had pretty much hardly any initial investment. And my shipping supplies were mostly donated, and I just used what I had. I sold stuff out of my house and all that to kind of get it going. And so I really haven't ever had a big investment in it. You know, I mean, I don't have a lot of my money in it. It's just, and I feel like I've made a lot I mean, I work at it. It's more my time than it is my money that I've invested in it. And now it's getting, or maybe, like you say, as you get better at it, maybe it doesn't take quite as much time as it used to, because maybe I make better purchases.
Well, you know more when you walk in a thrift store and you see that thing that you've sold before. Somebody said on Facebook one time, like, oh, I just keep seeing the same brands over and over. And I'm like, that's good, because you know, that's what you want, is something that's repeatable. You're always looking for items to make money on, but you want to just know, okay, when I see LL Bean wool sweater in a large, tall size, that's a good seller. You know, you learn what's good by repetition. And so it's not a bad thing to see the same things all the time. And that also teaches you what not to buy. It's like, oh, don't do that.
You know, our thrift store that's our church operated or whatever, thrift store has shoes for $3. And if I walked in there many times, matter of fact, the shoes I'm wearing today came from there, and they're flip-flops. Well, they're super comfortable. And so every time I see them, I buy them, because they sell just like that, because they're really comfortable, and I get them for $3, and they're easy to sell for, you know, $20, $25, $30, depends on what kind of shape they're in. And Chacos, I've seen those several times, and Keen, you know, I've just kind of learned, well, if those are there, I better get them, because if they won't be here long, you know, they sell through really fast. And so I like to sell those.
Yeah. So the more you do, the more you're going to know. And 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to know completely different things. There's going to be things out there that we haven't even heard of yet that we're going to be looking for, because that's just, you can't ever know it all. It's just a moving target in this business. So I just want to commend you on how well you've done so quickly. Okay. And this is really a situation where your age works in your favor, because you know things. You've lived through all these decades of trends and fads and brand names and commercials and advertising. And so when you see something, you know what it is. And I know there's a lot of influence on YouTube with the young people doing eBay and buying from China and having to know all what's trending right now. And that's one way to look at it. But when you have some maturity on you, it's just already in your head. You don't have to study it. You just know. Like your Honda manuals, you know, if they're older, you just know. You've had them.
You know, I actually just sold it. I may have put it on Money Making Monday this week. It was a Yanmar tractor manual. And I asked the guy, picked up and said, how much for this? He said, oh, $1. And I sold it for $40. That was the best offer just this week. And I thought, man, that was great. Those old manuals, service manuals, I don't ever pass those up anymore.
Yeah, and that may not be the most exciting or glamorous or sparkly pretty thing in the world to sell, but those are good money and they're easy to ship.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And those mechanics, they need them.
Yeah. Well, my husband, as soon as he gets a different motorcycle, that's what he does. He starts trying to find the manual because he'd really rather have a paper manual. I guess he's just old school enough. And sometimes they're not available and you got to get them, you know, downloaded or whatever. But if he could have a paper one, that's what he'd rather have. So I assume there are other people like that.
That's what I've observed too, is they like the book, to actually lay the book open and look through it and do what they're doing. Mechanic might not be as professional of a word as I should have used there, because people that work on these old vehicles, they're much more than a mechanic. You know, they're like a specialist. I don't know what the right word is. But I've seen that. And even I was in AutoZone the other day and they had all the manuals on the wall, like the books. And I'm like, that's what people want, is those books.
Yeah, they do. So, they really do.
Anyway, well, I'll let you go. I know you've got some retired person errands to go run today. You retired people are more busier than people that work.
You're not kidding. You're
That's
not kidding.
Good. It's all what you want to do and your choice, and you can be flexible on what you want to do. So I've got Ginger's information below the video. Check out her store, and also in my Facebook group, watch for her Money Making Mondays and $100 sales posts, because she really knows what she's doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Ginger. If you are looking at starting an eBay business and you are moving into retirement, or maybe already retired and just need a little help getting started on the right foot, I encourage you to come to my premium content library, where I have over 150 videos on how to do this business, and you get unlimited email support with me anytime you need help with anything. There is a special beginner section, so even if you have no selling experience whatsoever, I can help you get started. So be sure and check that out. Thanks for watching, and have a profitable and productive day on eBay. Bye.